Now, year after year, I've been constantly switching between many different phones, powerhouse flagships, great mid-rangers, and even quality budget phones. And after experiencing different software systems and getting a true feel out of every phone in the market, I think y'all need to stop sleeping on the Pixel. Now, when I say that y'all need to stop sleeping on the Pixel, I'm obviously not talking about the Pixel 9 Pro, since in the smartphone world, people usually tend to praise the best and most powerful phone in the lineup. The Pixel 9 Pro, the Galaxy S24 Ultra, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max are all phones that need no introduction, and they definitely aren't being slept on because they are in competition to be the best, which is what most people want. And quite frankly, many people have a superiority complex, and I'm included in that. I think the reality is that most people don't need the best of the best phone. See, phones like the Pixel 9 will give the average person everything that they need while also costing a cheaper price, which in turn gives it that bang for your buck factor. And to put it in perspective, the Pixel 9 has the exact same camera quality as the Pixel 9 Pro. It's the exact same size along with a very premium look. It has the exact same battery capacity, same exact processing power, and it has the same exact software and software features. And it even has better color options, so just like last year's Pixel 8, Pixel 7, and Pixel 6, the Pixel 9 is a much better option than the Pro version since it's a little bit cheaper and will provide you the same experience. And that's why I wanted to share my day-by-day experience with the Pixel 9 to help clear up any confusion as to whether or not it will fill your needs, or if you should just feed that superiority complex and go with the Pixel 9 Pro instead. Now, whenever I review a product, the first thing that I always pay attention to is its design and its build quality. It's the first thing that you see, touch, smell, and heavily judge upon your first interaction with a phone. And something that's not as noticeable in real life as it is on the spec sheet is that the Pixel 9 has a slightly bigger build than the previous Pixel 8. The Pixel 8 has dimensions of 150.5 by 70.8. In contrast, the Pixel 9's dimensions consist of 152.8 by 72, which again is a very slight difference, and in person you don't really notice it at all. Even in terms of thickness and weight, the Pixel 8 is 0.4 millimeters thicker than the Pixel 9. Still, despite being a tiny bit thicker, the Pixel 9 weighs 11 grams more. And despite there being little differences, I feel like the Pixel 9 is still very comfortable to hold and light enough for me to carry for a while without any wear on my arms and shoulders. Going deeper into feel and design, despite the newly refined look, the Pixel 9 is made up of the same materials as last year's Pixel 8, an aluminum frame with a glass back, but this time Google decided to switch it up a bit by giving the sides a more frosty feel that reminds me of the iPhone 16, not only in terms of materialistic feel, but also in terms of shape. Durability was also another strong suit that Google was able to make better with the Pixel 9. It now has a Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and back compared to last year's 8 only having Victus 1. And not only is Victus 2 a little bit denser, but it also is better for scratch resistance, which as you can see is something that I've had trouble on my Pixels for the past few years. Now, what I've always admired about Pixels of the past is that despite whatever problems that they've had, their displays were always top tier, and the Pixel 9 is no exception. The Pixel 9 has been bumped up to a 6.3-inch display compared to the Pixel 8's 6.2, and when it comes to the viewing experience of watching a video or playing a game, I think what adds to the Pixel 9's display is the extremely slim bezels with that boxy frame. And again, I can't help but think I'm holding a better looking iPhone whenever I watch videos on it. And speaking of watching videos, the display is OLED and the resolution is at 1080p. It looks good to an extent, nothing extraordinary, but it will get the job done whenever you're watching YouTube, on social media, or just playing a mobile game. The 120Hz refresh rate looks and feels smooth and fluid. And I feel like whenever it comes to brightness, every single year these companies are aggressively trying to outdo each other. The Pixel 9 is at 2700 nits of peak brightness, and this is brighter than the iPhone 16, which has a peak brightness of 2000 nits, and the Galaxy S24, which has a peak brightness of 2600 nits. Now, I can admit that when I first got my Pixel 9, there was nothing but excitement. But there was also some PTSD that kicked in whenever I remembered how my older Pixels would react when it came to power and performance. So this time around, it took me a while, but after 2 months, it's safe to say that the Tensor G4 chip is really good. I usually play Asphalt 9, which is a medium power heavy game, and I really love this game for the fact that it's not really overbearing and it shows you how good the frame rate of a phone can be. And after a couple weeks of playing Asphalt 9, which looked really good, I decided to move on to the big boy, which was Call of Duty Mobile. I changed my settings, downloaded every map, and ran it on my Pixel 9. And till this day, every few times out of the week, I'm playing Call of Duty Mobile and it's running incredibly smooth. The RAM improved the fluidity of my usage. I ran multiple apps simultaneously, multitasked, and kept several apps running in the background. And again, the software and processing power has been holding up very well. Now, battery life is arguably the most crucial aspect of a phone. You can't really do anything if your device is constantly dead. And luckily, the Pixel 9's 4700 mAh battery had been able to last me all day with just enough juice to go into the night. On a day-to-day basis, I'm consistently on my phone, from scrolling on my favorite social media apps to playing music while I'm in the car, to even calling my dad and talking about my day. I'm usually getting around 6 hours of screen time, with my battery being around 20% by the end of the day. Charging was pretty mid. It usually takes me about an hour and a half to get to 100%. And I mainly would charge my phone overnight, so it didn't really bother me too much. And I would say that if you are someone who uses your phone a lot and you want to save even more battery, the Pixel 9 offers several additional options. There's a power saver mode that lowers the refresh rate and switches your 5G connection to 4G. And for even more extreme situations, the extreme power saver limits the apps that you can use, and you can also turn on battery optimization for any app to restrict background battery use for specific apps. Now, remember when Google announced all the new AI features that were supposed to change everything within the Pixel? Well, in my honest experience, I still use my Pixel 9 just like when I use my Pixel 8, but one thing that has changed the game for me has been Google Gemini. Now, if you know about Pixel, you should know that Gemini is the new Google Assistant. Like whenever I want to reply to a business email, I'll usually tell it to reply exactly how I want. I'll text them certain messages to get certain points across, and it will give me a full professional written email. And I even use Gemini to help me with ideas on things that I should do around the new city that I'm living in, what gifts I should get for my girlfriend, and I even get advice on what YouTube videos that I should make. So as far as software, Google Gemini is the only thing that differentiates my use from the Pixel 9 and Pixel 8. Now, when we look at the upgraded cameras on the Pixel 9, you'll find that it boasts a 10 megapixel front-facing camera, a 50 megapixel main camera, and a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera. And this impressive setup positions the Pixel 9 as an outstanding performer in capturing high-quality photos within its price range. I've taken numerous selfies over the past 2 months, both indoors and outdoors, in various different environments, and even the AI-based editing of the selfies was exceptional. I love the fact that I could turn a selfie into portrait mode after I took the picture. I love the different realistic filters, and I even used the magic eraser whenever something got in my way. And going into deeper AI features, just like the Galaxy S24 Ultra, with the Pixel 9, I'm able to make a circle around anything in a photo, move it, resize it, and basically do anything I want. And this helped whenever I took really good everyday pictures. The colors were vibrant, but the filter and editing within the photos were so good that if I found anything wrong with the picture, I could edit the colors and objects any way I liked. Now, when it comes to videos, they were definitely the weakest part of the Pixel 9's camera. I felt like the lighting whenever I shot inside the house wasn't consistent enough. Outside videos were great, but again, it didn't really look good all the time. And there it is, you guys, my review on the Pixel 9 after 2 months of use. It's a really good phone that emphasizes how great Google has been able to improve over the years. And let me know down in the comments, would you guys like a day in the life video with the Pixel 9? Let me know. Peace.